Everybody, this is Matt from alphamattfitness.com. Today I want to talk about a topic which has baffled me for a long time. It's a question that probably a lot of guys tend to ask, and that is, how long will it take to get ripped, or how long will it take to have six-pack abs? How long will it take to be lean, essentially? And the answer isn't cut and dry. A lot of people will say 10% body fat, but to be quite honest, the answer is basically it depends. It depends on what your starting weight is, and it depends on what your weight has to be and what your body fat percentage has to be at to actually be ripped or be muscular and defined. Being ripped is simply a matter of having a certain level of body fat such that the layer of subcutaneous fat is thin enough that the actual structural characteristics of the muscle below can actually show through the skin. So, a little bit of background on the kinds of fat you have in your body. You have essentially, if you want to classify from a high level, you really have two different types of fat on your body. You have subcutaneous fat, which is a fat which sits under your skin, so in your arms, or in your in your stomach area, or basically the fat that you see on someone externally is subcutaneous fat. It exists between the layer of muscle and the layer of skin, essentially. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to pretend to give it fancy names like the dermis, whatever it is. But essentially, it's the layer of fat between the muscle and the skin that you can see on the outside. In addition to that, there's the visceral fat. Visceral fat is essentially the fat which is inside between the organs. So basically, it's tightly packed between your liver, your stomach, your intestines, your organs, and that's basically the first place where your body will start burning fat from. So as you're going through a fat loss program, you'll notice that you will lose weight quickly, but you won't notice especially if you're heavier, if you're like 200, 250 or higher, you'll notice that as your body fat drops, your scale weight will drop down with it. You'll feel better, and all the other great side effects of losing fat off your body. But you won't notice a huge amount of definition on the surface of the skin. And I noticed this multiple times too. And to be quite honest, I'm getting relatively lean at this point, but I'm not lean enough to be ripped. Absolutely not. I mean, I get decent muscle definition in my arms and whatnot. As you could tell, there's lighting. But I still have quite a bit to go. I'm guessing my body fat is probably around 14% or so. Could be a little bit higher even. And this is coming down from my current weight right now is about 179 pounds measured yesterday morning. I started at 235 pounds about 6 months ago, and this is like I said before, this is probably the 10th time that I've transformed my body. I've gone through many different transformations before, so I kind of know how this works, and I kind of know how my body reacts. So what I can say is, if you have a number in mind, you look at someone else on the internet and they're about 160 pounds and they look ripped, and then say they're 5'10" or whatever, and they're male or whatever, female, depending on whatever the case may be. If they're ripped at a certain weight, it does not guarantee that you're also going to be ripped at that weight. Because not only is it a matter of having a low body fat percentage, but it's also a matter of having a certain amount of muscular development. The more amount of muscular development you have, the less fat you have to take off your body in order to start seeing like I said, the muscular structure below the skin. As you continue to drop more and more, the amount of muscle you have matters less and less. You could have a relatively small amount of muscle mass. For example, say if you're a male, 5'10", and you weigh 140 pounds, for example. If you lower your body fat enough, you will look ripped, meaning that the layer of skin, like I said, the subcutaneous skin levels will actually drop down to show the muscle through. So basically, a good way to calculate how long it will take is to look at roughly what your body fat percentage currently is. Now, there's a gazillion other videos on this. Essentially, you can use calipers, you can use bioelectrical impedance analysis machines. There's DEXA scans, and there's bod pops. There's a lot of different ways. I'm not going to go into detail right now, and I'll do that in another video. But essentially, you got to determine roughly what your body fat percentage is right now. For example, let's say you're a male and you're 200 pounds and you're 20% body fat, for example. 20% body fat of 200 pounds is roughly 40 pounds of fat. That means roughly 160 pounds of your current body, your total body mass, is lean body mass, which means lean body mass is anything but fat. So that includes muscle tissue, obviously, skeletal structure, skin, hair, everything but the fat, essentially. So 160 pounds. So if you had zero fat on your body, you'd be at 160 pounds. Unfortunately, if you were at 0% body fat, you probably wouldn't be alive anymore. So roughly take your body fat percentage then and multiply it by 1.1 minus point whatever you currently are. So for example, 160 pounds times 1.2 1.1 will put you 166 pounds at roughly 10% body fat, for example. That math could be wrong, don't quote me, but essentially you're going to have to do the math to determine roughly where your body fat percentage will be. I'll post a link somewhere. I'm going to aim for right here with my finger's pointing to my website where you can calculate that and figure out roughly where you'll be at. But like I said, if you're 200 pounds and you're 20% body fat, 160 pounds, you're 0% body fat, say the number comes out to 170 pounds, at whatever body fat that may be, it might be 10% or less. The reason I say 10% or less is there's this thing that goes around the internet saying that 10% or below you'll have six-pack abs. I've been seeing guys lately saying that 15% you can have abs or 14% you can have abs. The fact of the matter is it matters on the person and it's an individual thing. It depends on how your body distributes the fat, where it distributes it. For example, I hold a lot of my fat in my chest area and my stomach area. Not a lot of fat on my stomach, on my lower extremities, so my legs remain relatively lean. Even when I gained upwards of 70 pounds, my legs remained relatively lean. My upper body is where most of the mass came on. So my stomach and my back, my upper back, not so much my lower back, but mostly my upper body. So generally speaking, those are the thicker areas that are a little more dense will be the last areas to go, right? For example, the stomach area. So therefore, in order to get ripped, to have those abs, you're going to have to also reduce the stomach area quite a bit. Now with my body, I'm noticing that I also have a nice layer that likes to stick around everywhere on the arms, everywhere basically. So essentially, I'll have to continue dropping the body fat until essentially I look the way I want to look. Until I'm noticing on a week-to-week basis, I'm dropping roughly 1.5 to 2 pounds of body fat. As I do that, I notice that on the scale, not only dropping, but my measurements are dropping. So my waist measurements for my chest, my legs, and whatnot. Right. At this point, a lot of my body fat has been depleted in the lower body, so most of it's from upper body. But the fact of the matter is that you have to continuously reduce that body fat. Don't get so obsessed with the numbers. Keep going. Now, if I could tell anyone any lesson is that you got to keep going. I was so obsessed before when I went through these sort of transformations where I thought, at 160 pounds, I would be ripped. And guess what? I got to 160 pounds, I didn't look the way I wanted. I got to 164 pounds, I definitely didn't look the way I wanted. And for some reason, I got in this mind that I had to bulk up. I need more muscle. I went to bulking phases, but I would not continue on with the path of continuing to get ripped. And that's where I would fall off the wagon. So if I could say anything, stick to it. Calculate your numbers so you have a rough ballpark, but keep in mind that could be plus or minus 10 pounds within that area, right? So if you think you're going to be ripped at 175 pounds, you might very well be keep cutting down to 165. The moral of the story is you have to continue on and keep doing what you're doing. Keep the calorie deficit up every day. Keep your cardio up every day. Keep your strength training up every day. Keep your routine going and make sure your diet is completely on par and continue on with that. If you're having trouble sticking to it for motivational purposes, take progress photos, take measurements, weigh yourself, and record all this stuff. I record all this stuff weekly. I got measurements dating up to 25 weeks for this current cut. It's exhausting, absolutely, but you know what? At this point, I'm kind of used to it, so I do it anyways. And you know what? You just gotta keep going. You will get there. I guarantee you. If you keep that calorie deficit, it all just comes down to losing fat. It may get tougher as you get lower because your body is holding onto the fat, so you may have to up your activity levels, your exertion, and your workouts, and you may have to cut your calories level. If you do have to do that, drop it slow, and check and see what the results are on a week-to-week basis. I'll do a video on that again, covering how to do that. But basically, just keep going. That's it. It's not that hard, guys. Losing weight at 300 pounds is no different than losing weight at 150 pounds. Same concept. Caloric deficit, energy in, energy out will yield fat loss with the proper diet and proper program, training program. So, really, just stick to it. You know, I see so many people that just don't stick to it. They get so far, they lose 50 pounds, and they stop. I never understood that. I fell into it myself. There's a lot of psychology. There's a lot of emotions that happen with that. But you got to keep going. You can't stop. You got to realize that it could just be around the corner, and you just got to lose another 10 pounds or even 15 pounds. Hell, it may even be 20 pounds. It doesn't fucking matter. What matters in the end is how you look in the mirror, is what you want to look like. It doesn't matter if it takes a year. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 years. Like, that's extreme. But you got to keep going. If you really want it, you got to keep pushing through. You got to keep breaking through, and you will get there. I promise you. This is coming from experience, having failed many times, having backed out of what I thought I was going to do, what I told myself I was going to do, and having, you know, basically admitted defeat. So keep forward, keep pushing forward, guys. Keep losing that fat, and I guarantee you will get there with that hard work. Remember, if you like this video, this is only my 4th video, so I'm new to this. Make sure to click the subscribe button below, like the video, and share it if you can. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to putting up a lot more videos in the future for you guys. I'm getting the hang of this. I mean, I got the angles down pretty good. I think the lighting's not too bad. Unfortunately, I didn't use my microphone this time, but I'll make sure I get to that next time. So anyways, until next time, the next video, guys, stay focused and stay fit. All right, thanks.